Thank you, everyone, for coming. As you all know, this is the public ascertainment hearing for the towns of Deerfield, Sunderland, and Whately for the renewal of the cable license for Comcast Cable Communications Management, LLC. I'm going to give you a quick outline of the hearing. First, I'm going to introduce maybe some people in the room and just kind of settle what expectations are. Then we'll hear from anybody who wants to speak. First, people who are here in the room, then folks who are joining us by Zoom. We had some people who couldn't be here who either gave us written testimony or video testimony, and that'll be at the end. And I hope we can get everybody home in time for whatever your normal bedtime is. Or All right, so I got some stuff that Bill told me I should read here. This is a public hearing regarding the renewal of cable television license of Comcast Cable Communication Management, LLC. The purpose of the proceeding is to identify the future cable-related community needs and interests and to review the performance of the cable operator under its current cable license. The current Comcast license was issued in December 2016 and runs through December 2026, and I don't know the exact date on that, but it's coming up in about a little more than a year.
December 11th.
December 11th, okay. This hearing is being held in furtherance of the goals of the Federal Cable Act. So, pretty good, huh? All right, public notice was published twice in the Greenfield Reporter. Now here with us is Ms. Eileen Leahy from Comcast. She is the Senior Manager of Government and Regulatory Affairs. Welcome, Eileen.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Ms. Leahy is here to observe primarily. So we're not really going to be like asking questions. She's here to observe and hear from us. Okay. However, anytime, just raise your hand and I'll recognize you if you want to say anything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay. So we're really, really happy to have you here today because it reflects on Comcast's commitment to our towns and our PEG access within the towns of Deerfield, Sunderland, and Whately. I think I want to recognize a few people who are in the room. There are some selectmen in the room. But Gilmore, if you raise your hand. I think we're going to have Dan from Sunderland probably on the Zoom. I am on the select board in Whately.
By the way, I'm from Deerfield.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have said Deerfield. Sorry, Blake. I feel like everybody knows you. Right?
Oh, good or bad? Well,
and we'll probably have Dan Murphy joining us by Zoom in a little bit. Also, I want to recognize that there is a committee for the towns that is helping with the negotiation. It contains myself. I'm chair. That's how I got to be the chair of this gig here. If you ever want to be a chair of a nice hearing like this, let us know, and we'll find a place for you to chair a hearing. And also, I want to recognize Paul Olszewski is probably stepping up to be on that negotiating committee. I think his official appointment won't be till tomorrow, but that's expected tomorrow. And then Dan Murphy from Sunderland. So those are your representatives in the town on the franchise negotiation committee. I also want to recognize Mr. John Ocean, who is our general manager at FCAT, who is our PEG access provider for the towns. He's like an all-around, I think, tech and public access guru, and he's such a tremendous resource, and we're really, really lucky to have him. And he's running the hybrid portion of the meeting, so that means I don't have to do that part. So now I want to briefly recognize our council. Mr. Bill Solomon, do you have anything you'd like to say to the room?
Just very briefly, one point. Thank you for having me. Good to be here. I worked on the cable license with Eileen 10 years ago, and I worked on the cable license 20 years ago for the three communities, and when we began FCAT, and had a very successful negotiation with Comcast. So I just want to say that I was a town council for many years, and oftentimes people would be at a meeting and someone would stand up and say something, and then another person would say the same thing, and maybe another person would say the same thing, and people would go, oh, we already heard this. But here, this is our chance, your chance, to be heard. We have Eileen here representing Comcast. The license going forward will be a 10-year license, so it'll be significant to the future of community television, PEG access, public education and government access. And what's said here has a big impact on how both Eileen and therefore Comcast, the people Eileen speaks to, see the communities and see the need and interest in PEG access. So if one person stands up and says something and everyone else says, well, gee, I'm not going to say it, I don't want to be one of those people, I could sit down with Eileen together with the committee in a few weeks and we could mention something and Eileen might say, well, only one person mentioned that. And she'd be right. So don't be shy. You can say it briefly or as thoughtfully as you want to, but please, if you have something to say, tonight's really the time to say it so your voice can be heard. So, thank you.
Another question.
Sure.
So the contract that you have, this is obviously a written document. Is there a place where we can look at it to see where we're at with it, and then as you proceed, we'll know what's going on with both sides of the.
Yeah. So the way we just beginning the process with Comcast, but the communities have been working actively for a year on the ascertainment. The ascertainment under the Cable Act is to figure out what your cable-related community needs and interests are. So that's what the towns and the committee have been working on. Capital budget for equipment here, for remote equipment to take out by people, for equipment at your town halls. So that's been done in depth with outside consultants who have put together a draft capital plan. We've looked carefully at how the program is interested in growing and expanding in terms of more programming, more training, and so that's what we've been working on. And so now, the good timing is with this hearing, the committee is now able to sit down with Eileen and go over what those needs are. And typically what you do, and I think is best, is you reach agreement on the big issues, the PEG operating support, the capital, the video return, high definition for PEG. There are about 5 electronic program guide in the perfect world. So there may be about 6 large issues. And we'll be discussing that with Eileen. And then each select board can then decide in consultation with your representatives on the committee how you would like to be kept updated. But so at one point when the framework is reached on that, I think then the committee members will go back to your boards and discuss that with you. When we reach agreement on those larger issues, only then I'll draft a cable license. As I always say, it's like buying a house. You don't draft the purchase and sale agreement until you get the basic terms agreed to. So when those basic terms are agreed to, discussed with the board, people feel good about that, I'll draft a cable license, 50-page document. It'll go to the committee we'll send it to the boards, depending on how boards feel about that, and then we provide it to Comcast. We go back and forth, and then at that point, when we reach a sort of a tentative understanding, Eileen understanding that nothing's final until the board's approved, when we have that draft license agreed upon, at least between these folks and myself, that'll be provided to the board, and that's the time you really want to focus on that document, apart from the basic deal and the basic deal. So that'd be the process. And the good news is that the committee, together with Jonathan, who's a great show, who not only does so much himself, but has so many people working voluntarily and for him and with him, has done great work. So we're in a good position to let Comcast know how important community television is and what the needs are going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'd like to ask, I got to chat with most people beforehand. Is there anybody here who has like a really urgent time obligation? You think you need to get out of here soon, so you really want to be at the front of the line? Okay, very good. Then what I'd like to do is ask if there's anyone present who has, who would like to be heard regarding any matters here. And I would encourage folks to stand up when you speak because the owl
You
is
can
going to.
have people stand over there
Yeah.
by the chair.
Yeah, I'll stand up, and if you would, please, I invite you to stand over by the chair. We call it the comfy chair, for reasons you'll all understand. You don't have to sit in the chair, you can stand there. That way you can kind of address folks at the table and in the audience. The camera will catch you a little bit more easily, and the owl will catch you a little bit more easily than if you're sitting down in hidden in a big group. You know, in my classes, when I ask for volunteers, nobody raises their hand, but I'm going to do that. And I ask for volunteers. Would anybody like to start us out tonight to talk about whatever you came here to talk about? I'm looking at you, Connor. All right. I saw Connor's hand first, so Connor, why don't you go? I think you're
Okay.
speaking as a student, I think.
Yes.
Thank you, Connor.
Of course.
And please, say who you are, where you're from, and if you have some affiliation that we should know about, please say that.
Okay. My name is Connor Mabius. I go to Frontier Regional. I am from Sunderland, and I work with FCAT, and I do photography for sports games and a lot of events that happen at the school. And I'm a very big movie person. And I remember one time, way back, oh man, time flies by.
Way back?
Way back.
Okay.
I remember
Okay.
around a year or two ago,
There you go.
I made a little short film, and I was encouraged by Mr. Murphy to spread out to that idea a little bit more, and then I wrote a little bit of a script. I'm like, hey, like check this out. And he said, wow, this is good, but it's gonna take a lot of planning. I'm like, okay, what are we gonna need? And he said, well, we're gonna need some cameras. And he needs some assistance from people like Ben Roberts up there, my liege, my best buddy up there, who helped out with the project. And it was a very different experience, and it was nerve-wracking. We were out in the sun a lot of the days, and it was hot. It was terrible. Even when we shot inside, it was a difficult time. And maybe some of you had saw the short film, maybe you liked it, maybe you have some things to say, if you want to say anything right now. But after that project finished up, I said like, wow, I like this a lot. And all of that is because of FCAT and Mr. Murphy and Ben Roberts and John over there. And I really appreciate John. And he even filmed some documentary footage, if I remember correctly, of the cars specifically. But I don't know if you still have that recording, but I don't even put pressure on you at all. And then a few months after that, I came up with this other idea, and it actually happened in this room. It was like around last year in December, and it was like this. I don't know. It was just more practice for me to embrace what I really, really like to do. And again, it was all from FCAT, the equipment, all the camera work, everything. And we were able to, we got some permission from people who were willing to lend over this room for a small period. We shot it for like 2 days, I'd say. And again, it was a different process because every single time you make a different thing, it's always different. And that's like one of the best and difficult things when you film something, is that you're guaranteed to make something different every single time. There are 7 movies created when you make the actual movie. And I can't list all the examples, obviously, but that quote came from the French New Wave. One that is written, one that is edited, one that is released, and so forth. So, and then I came out with this other idea very recently, actually, like I'd say around 3 or so months ago. And we didn't use exactly like the highest quality technology or cameras. We used a camera like that one, actually. And I remember that there was like a specific lens that I wanted to aim for. And with the boundaries that we had, and the time constraint, because the year was going by, and it was an ambitious thing to work on this. And they were very flexible. They were more than willing to help us out. So yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you. Maybe for our other students, Connor kind of speaks to the really close relationship we have with the schools, so maybe Leo?
Hello, everybody. My name is Leo Franceschi. Frontier Community Access Television has been part of my life since I was in 5th grade, back when the station was in South Deerfield. Kevin Murphy taught me how to use a camera. I am now I'm minoring in film studies in college. I'm finishing my degree as I speak. And the station, sorry, just out of breath or some anxiety or something, because it's public speaking.
But it's just it's public access.
Yes. Anyway, I just can't thank the station enough for all that it's done for my career as a launching point. As it's advertised in the brochure, I can attest to it. I have worked recording town meetings in Sunderland and Deerfield and Conway and Whately. I have shot stuff with Connor and Kevin. I have filmed events since 2015, so for a decade now. I've been here, and I've been in love with this community, and it's really shaped my life, and yeah, I'm eternally grateful for the opportunities that I've had because of this station. So,
That's great.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin, do you want to say something? Because they both mentioned you.
Yes.
So two
Sure,
minutes.
sure.
Yeah.
Kevin Murphy, I live here in Sunderland. I'm also a teacher at Frontier Regional School. Computer science, not necessarily video. I spend most of my time after school in the position of outreach coordinator for FCAT. I've been in it with Bernstein Northfield Cable prior to coming here in 2008. The mission that I carry is taking kids out to the field, getting them oriented to the community, whether it be town meetings, those long town meetings or select board meetings even. We used to film those back in the day. All the way to filming concerts, plays, sports, which became very, very popular since COVID, and movies and filmmaking opportunities, and it just goes on and on and on. We're very proud of our productions. We've won many awards through the ACM New England. We've been told many times that the families of Frontier Regional School are grateful to see their kids performing, either on athletic fields or on the stage, and they're very, very grateful for what we do. And just to see the kids get excited about the gear, get excited about filming, has driven me to continue doing this on and on and on, year after year. And it's because of them, their ambition, their excitement for the technology. It's just been a wonderful experience, and I'm very grateful for having community access as that sandbox, that's what I call it, a sandbox to play, learn, grow, and share. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Alrighty. Yes.
Mine piggybacks on them, so.
Okay.
We'll just keep it all going. Hi, I'm Jennifer Abramson. I live in Deerfield, and my son Braden is doing FCAT. He just started at Frontier this fall, and we soon found out about FCAT, and he immediately felt the sense of belonging and excitement. And he's so excited for the chance to learn how to use this equipment, and he just has the sense of belonging with this group. He gets excited to film the sports games, and he can't wait for the off season so he can do some editing projects. But I'm just so grateful that this is here. And when I share it with other parents at work or in our friend group and I tell them about this program, they almost can't believe that something like this exists. So I just feel like it's a real gem, and I'm so grateful for it, so that my son can find, his way. He's just beginning his career at Frontier, and I hope that over the next few years he continues to grow and maybe make some really great things of his own. So that's it. Thank you.
Is there anybody else with kind of school-related things to say? Greg, do you want to say anything?
I do want to say something.
Yeah, okay, why don't you go next?
Not specific to the schools, but to the community as a whole. It's an amazing thing to me to see how much you guys do and the variety of things that you do and how many people have been involved in helping through the years. I mean, there's a lot of internships that people have done. As Leo mentioned earlier, he's my son. He's been involved for 10 years and he's working at getting a degree in minor in film studies and environmental science and figuring out a way to, use the skills that he got here. And I think this place has inspired a lot of people, and I think it's a really great example of community television. I've seen what other towns do, and I don't know how you guys can do so much with so few people and with so little money. I'd like to advocate for trying to get the full 5%. The way that the cable company funds these operations is through a percentage of the revenues, the gross revenues that are taken out of the community in your cable bill. And you can get up to 5% and then for an operating budget of those revenues, and a capital account is separate, and that's negotiated. I don't know what you guys get for capital, but I think that you should try to get the maximum amount possible and continue to grow and provide these wonderful services for the future. It really helps everybody in the community.
Thank you.
I saw some more hands earlier. Why don't I'll go right back and then I'm going to come around this way. So, Susan.
Get there. Hi, I'm Susan Barron from Whately, and I wanted to make two comments. One is I was the co-chair of the Whately 250th celebration in 2022, and over the course of 10 days we had about a dozen different events. Jonathan was at all of them, I think, filming, and did a fabulous job then producing an edited version of the parade and of all of the events, and providing a link that we could share with the community so that anyone who was not able to participate, or those who were able to participate and wanted to relive it, could see the video, and we could save it. That this is something that can now be shared in the community moving forward because of the video that Jonathan produced. The other observation I wanted to make is my husband is on the select board in Whately, and as Joyce can attest to, not a lot of people come to the select board meetings. That doesn't stop people from approaching my husband at the transfer station and the post office and wherever he is in town, because they are watching it on FCAT and therefore keeping up on what's going on in the community and asking him questions or making points to him. So it's a great service to the town of Whately. Thank you.
Go around and maybe make another run back after that.
Good evening, I'm Neil Abram, President of the Whately Historical Society, and I want to say a few things about the benefits that FCAT has brought to our community and particularly to our Historical Society. First, I should note that filming is not a new thing in this area. Thomas Edison brought his early film company to reenact the famous Bloody Brook and recorded it on film, and it was a short, not a talkie, but a short video shown in movie theaters, and Just Art Depot has a copy of that, and it's been digitized, and so it's available to show that this is a long history. FCAT in particular has, and John in particular, have been exemplary in promoting events, not just filming the events, but advertising them in advance, so that those who keep their eye on the public access channels get prodded to remember that things are going to happen. And John is good at designing some of those promotions, not just taking what you sent him, what I sent him. He makes it better for the format of the television, and that has benefited all of us. He has also been, as Susan describes, very responsive in getting to events to record them, or having other staff members or interns come to record programs which are then offered to an expanded audience well above the audience that attends those things. Why we like to have good attendance to events. It's even better when lots of people see them. Now, one of the ways I know that folks are watching is that in our leadership group for the Historical Society, there are a number of single over 70, and in some cases over 80s folks who report in our meetings what they have seen on public access television. Did you see this about that committee meeting or that select board meeting or whatever it might be? They have one eye perhaps on commercial television and another eye on the public access television, and we hear about that every Tuesday morning, I think it's fair to say. As an example of special projects, John and his staff did a special documentary about a senior member of the Whately community who in her teens went for a semester to Japan on a kind of internship, and she has more recently been recounting the stories of her memories and showing things that she brought back from Japan. And while we played that documentary that John helped to make, we had her at one of our festivals show off all the artifacts that she had brought home. John has helped to digitize the oral history tapes that were made in a very analog way a decade or more ago, and so those are now more available. But we're still working on making sure that the digitized recording can be played without having very sophisticated audio technology embedded on the computer, so we can hand this out as a CD. You want to hear your grandfather's recounting of something? Well, he's helped to make that available. And the interns, I think, have been powerful. One of the things that John has had is a fluctuating staff. So when he records an event that has a PowerPoint presentation in it, he's a perfectionist. He's not going to try to do video recording of the screen of a projector showing a PowerPoint. He's going to ask you for the PowerPoint. He's going to cut out from the PowerPoint and paste it in on the screen, so you have a high resolution video image of the PowerPoint slide rather than the chattery video of recording when the scan rates are different for the computer and the video recording instruments. So it has been very special to have FCAT. And I say this also from experience of having been on the board of Amherst Media and watching their various community outreach methods and having observed community access television in 2 other states. This is very unusual for the degree of services relative to the size of the budget, and I think anything that can be done to help enlarge and support the staff and provide support for interns would greatly expand the services to the whole community. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. And then Paul, you're next, and then we'll take the front row.
Hi, I'm Jim Ewan. I'm the recreation coordinator here in Sunderland, and we benefit by having MCAT provide us with audio equipment and also some of our events. Some people won't know this even in the town of Sunderland now, but when the rec coordinator position came into existence about 30 years ago, there was concern that it was all going to be around the youth, and so there were 2 events that the recreation coordinator was supposed to be involved in. One was the Memorial Day Parade and ceremonies, and the other was to put on a fall festival. Now they wanted the Festival of the Hills like Conway does, but they also gave us a $0 budget. Eventually, the Fall Festival was taken over when an agricultural commission was formed, and it operated up until the big anniversary celebration a few years ago. And then with COVID, it's been on the back burners. Hopefully that will come back around at some point in time. But the Memorial Day Parade is still part of my responsibility. been doing this job for 26 years. And we have filming of the ceremony here at the Veterans Memorial. We step off the parade and go down South Main Street and into the Riverside Cemetery. The ceremony there is actually a very moving ceremony. And then the march back here at the end, and it's all been covered by MCAT over the years, providing us with video coverage. And it's been very important for some of our older citizens to be able to still participate in the Memorial Day parade through being able to watch it on public access. And it's been a very important thing in that way. But they also have to be flexible, because if we have a rain out, we adjourn to the elementary school auditorium and we have to get everything set up and ready to go kind of on a moment's notice. And that has happened, actually it happened this year, again, for about the third or fourth time in the years that I've been doing this. They've also been available to us to provide equipment, audio and or video for some of our events. Sunderland's been running a basketball tournament for 35 years. At the end of our rec season, the rec teams come and we have a basketball tournament at the elementary school. It runs from Wednesday to a Sunday, and for the last couple of years we've been able to actually have video coverage of that through some of the folks that have been doing sports and things at Frontier as well. And they've been very good about loaning us equipment for various other types of things, and doing also videoing some of our other youth activities as well. And it's also really great for me to see Connor and Ben, who come up through our rec programs. I had them in intro soccer, they won't want to hear this, when they were about this tall at age 4. And Mr. Colby back there actually is a contemporary of my son, and came up through the rec programs as well. But it's a testimony to us being able to provide these kinds of opportunities for students. I tell parents all the time, they have a child that gets a little discouraged about sports, and I say you have to understand that their sport may be playing an instrument. It may be in a theater group, and Frontier has a great theater program over there. It might be in getting involved with FCAT and videoing and potentially a career, as the pamphlet here talks about. And so it's been great to see these kids grow up and go and be involved in a lot of these other activities, but this is an important one as well, and one that can be a life job and a life commitment, either through a career or in volunteering, wherever they may end up in the future, where they might live. There's community access TV, and I'm sure they'll be involved in it. So I think we're very fortunate to have what we do have here, and encourage continuing that as well as increasing that in any ways that we can. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Paul. So Paul Newland, and then you want to say something?
I'm done.
Okay,
I'm good.
You're good. Okay. Paul.
So it's a pleasure to follow all you people that are making this service available to the public. Neil, I also want to congratulate you on the work you do for the Whately Historical Society, which I love and support. I have two things that I'm particularly interested in at various levels. One is music, and the other is democracy. And I think both are passions of mine. And I'm involved in two organizations. One's called Watermelon Wednesdays, which has been going on for 26 years. And many of the early episodes were filmed by Kevin and Company, and now we're getting help from Jonathan. And so that part of my life, music, is very important, and I'm glad it's getting some airtime and people may be watching it. The other one is democracy, and to that I refer to the newly formed Whately Civic Association. And we've had one meeting so far. We're a brand new group. But our focus there is on democracy, and especially the effects of the current administration on local populations like us, and what that means to us. And so we have a speaker series, the first one of which was filmed by FCAT, Jonathan, and featured Bill Newman, an attorney who specializes in civil liberties. And so I think it's very important for us to inform each other about these critically important things. And one of my favorite expressions is the best defense against tyranny is a well-educated public. And I'd like to thank you all for helping educate the public and not just forcing us to rely on commercial TV, which is frightfully void of coverage of such things. And I think you fill an important role in getting out to the local communities and giving people a voice through media. And so I'd like to just acknowledge that and say my congratulations to FCAT and the paid services they render. And let's see if there's anything else. Well, if I could read it, I might say it. I'm just going to leave it there, and thanks again for the work you did.
Thanks, Paul. Folks in the front row are very patient. Paul says he doesn't have anything with, Blake, do you have anything with that? And then come around to you then.
Hi, my name is Blake Gilmore. I'm from Deerfield. And when I heard him say how long ago this memory was, I've got something Jonathan needs to hear. Deerfield's 300th anniversary, I videotaped it. It was reel to reel, black and white. You had to carry all the equipment. We ended up going on roofs, and it was a 95-degree day. People were dropping cameras, taking them out of town. So I got up there, and we're standing on the roof, and it's an asphalt one, so our feet are burning as we're doing it, but we got the parade. They did the ball. They did several other things on these reel-to-reel tapes. Jonathan and I still have them. They showed them the next year, and that was it. They gave them to me, and I found them in a box, and I says, I gotta see if somebody can either transfer these over to something or whatever. So just so you know that I'm glad that you're here. I was doing this 50 years ago, and so if you guys can do something with it, they're all yours. And I'm glad that what you're doing now, it is a very important thing. You're documenting what's going on at the school, at the town level. I think it's very important, and that you should be getting the support that you need. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Greg Snedeker. I am, I'd like to say the new assistant town administrator, but for Deerfield, but it's now been over a year. It's kind of gone very quickly. So I would like to talk about PE&G. So PEG Access is Public, Educational, and Government. And so the public, my relationship to the public is I have been in elected positions for 20 years. My 12th year right now in the Gill Select Board, and I negotiated the Gill franchise agreement 10 years ago when I think, Eileen, you were just coming into your position at the time, and with Bill, so it's kind of like old times. At that time, there was the concentration on build-out. I don't know if people remember this 10 years ago. Rural towns were only, some were between 70 to 80 to 90% built out. So we had a lot of houses and homes and businesses that did not have internet, high-speed internet. And so that was a part of the negotiation, was to build that out. And you had the Massachusetts Broadband Institute that was also helping out in those areas. Now they have shifted. We've done a great job through the state and through the franchise agreements and getting towns built out so that people in remote locations have high-speed internet, because we know that's important for jobs and our, our access to all things media and information. So that's been, I think, a success in the state. They have sort of shifted to what they call their BEAD, which is, I believe, it's sort of working on equity now in terms of equitable access. So you're seeing things, access coming to libraries, and you're seeing the libraries go up. And so that the public side, I'm very passionate about for the same reasons that Paul mentioned, which is democracy. It's a passion of mine, which is why I got into local local politics. So it's really important. We are the bedrock of democracy, is the local governments. We really are, and especially now, we really are the bedrock of democracy. And so without our community television, think about what that might look like. I just would not want to even imagine that. So it's so crucial to have that community television for all the reasons that we've talked about. I'm also a musician. I played the Watermelon Wednesday. So I know when I go out and do public performances, it's nice that sometimes these things are videotaped. So I've now moved to education. I was a teacher for 28 years. And the stories that I'm hearing for the connection between what's going on in schools and having community television is so important as a teacher, but also as a parent. My daughter played soccer for a rival team, Frontier. I won't mention names. But to be able to catch a game that I might have missed that was captured by community television, for a parent, that's huge. It's absolutely huge. I still go back and watch FCAT or MCTV or BNCT, which is Bernardston Northfield community television, just so I can catch some of my daughters. She's moved on, she's in college now, but those were priceless moments. And to be able to even go back and watch those is, for me, it's priceless. So that's the education side. I could go on and on for education in terms of how important it is to have those community connections. And then finally, for government, I'm honored to be helping out with Deerfield because I've been through this process, and on the other side, that it's really important to get our towns, so Deerfield, Whately, Sunderland, and sort of Conway's, a little bit there as well, to maintain those relationships with FCAT. I've had many conversations with Jonathan recently that how important it is that we in the community, and both in our town governments and in the community at large, are connecting with FCAT to say, look, here are some of our priorities. Here are some of our wish lists, right? We can't let FCAT fly blind. So the more engaged we become with FCAT, the more informed they can be to bring the quality content that they bring. And I will say that as an audio engineer for 30 years as well, the technology, as you all know, becomes outdated very quickly. So the video equipment, the audio equipment that they're using, right? That can quickly become obsolete within 5 to 7 years. And so one of the reasons why we rely on these PEG funds is to be able to buy new equipment after 5 or 7 years. He's nodding his head because he knows. He's like, here we are. We need to switch out that camera. We need to move to HD4 or whatever it is, right? You've got to be able to have the funds coming in to be able to support it in a way that's keeping current with the times. So that's all I'm going to say. Public, educational, government, it's so important, more so now than ever. And we need to, again, I was talking with the great father up here, and my parents are 97 and 93. They live down in Florida, but they rely on their community television to watch their church service because they're in an assisted living situation. And so that actually means the world to them because they can't make it to the church. It's very difficult for them to physically get there. So all those things are so important to our community, to our government, to our education, to our kids, and to the public at large. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Father Robert Colbert. I am the pastor of Holy Name of Jesus Parish here in South Deerfield. I just want to say that coming here in 2017, I really appreciate the time and the direction that John, as a good friend, has given to me. We have had the opportunity to tape our services, and I know that it is through FCAT that there are a couple of churches that also produce their religious services. And I think one of the most important factors, as it was mentioned, that many people that live in our surrounding area are homebound, and as they get older, as we all get a little bit older, it makes it difficult for some of these people to come out. And I have to say that John has been very, very helpful since I've come here with the taping of our services. And I think it is a benefit not only for the people of my congregation, but I have received also accolades from other people that are not associated with our church that are very, very thankful that we have programming that takes care of the religious services. So, John, again, thank you for the opportunity of filming, and I think it is beneficial not only for my congregation but for the people that FCAT actually reaches. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. There's a few people who haven't spoken up yet. I think Brian. Brian, you ready?
I'll go.
And then maybe Eric and Catherine.
Hi everybody, I'm Brian Coldy. I grew up in this town. Just came back after 20 years of not being here. I think FCAT's so important. You know, there's a lot of people that can't get out, can't see events. My child is 6 years old. Yeah, her other grandparents don't live in this area, so if they could see a filmed event, soccer, basketball, whatever it is, I think that's really important. You know, there's a lot of older people that can't get out at nighttime, that can't see these select board meetings. And I just think it goes a long way. And then to see these kids here also go on to do things, make videos, it's just the way of the world now. Things are just changing. You know, YouTube's a thing. People are making new videos. It's just such an important thing to have in the community. And for us to keep funding that and doing it is really important. So, thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, is there anybody else here who'd like to say something? Would you like to say something? Eric, it doesn't have to be a lot, but as police chief, like, I mean, you're sort of on the municipal side.
Oh, somebody's name might be. My name is Eric. I'm the police chief in Sunderland. I just, I don't know what else more I could say that you all have already said, but I've been here for just over 9 years and seen the public access from the town I grew up in, and then when I came here, and I was able to see how well you guys do with this programming. You know, it goes from the public, the government shows to the different events. We've been able to work with FCAT a couple of times. I know some other emergency departments have as well, but it's a great resource to have. Gives it an opportunity for the children who want to then move up and do this type of field later on. They're here, you know they're here, and they're doing something, so I applaud that. I applaud the families that allow that, and I really hope this continues for many, many more years. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. I think that, would you like to say anything on behalf of Sunderland Libraries? No? Oh, okay. Then I guess the last person in the room I want to call on is John. And then we'll go to the folks who are joining us by Zoom. And then I've got some written testimony to read out.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jonathan Boshin. I'm the General Manager of Frontier Community Access Television. I was hired here in 2017 as a production assistant. And to be honest, I never thought I would be General Manager of a TV station. Not going to get into that. It's a long story, which you all know. I don't need to go into it. But this has been one of the most rewarding jobs I've ever had. And you probably noticed there were some old posters in the TV station, the community room. They weren't the traditional movie posters, though. They're old trade ads for old industrial films I'm a big fan of. What I admire about those is how they take a complex idea or situation, they break it down in a manner that's easy to understand. You may also notice another poster that was for a company called the GM Handy organization from the 40s that says, there's two sides to every picture stream. There's the entertainment side, the fiction side, and then there's the nonfiction side, and both should be treated sort of in the same manner. The nonfiction side, which is what we do, is extremely, extremely important. And I think one of the best examples of that was during the pandemic, the role that our station took to serve our community, which really put us to the test. And while it was a difficult time, I feel that was one of the best examples of the importance of community media. Kevin Murphy, he worked left and right to get sports coverage of the kids playing sports during a difficult time when people could not see their sports playing. He filmed the plays and all other school events when the schools were locked down and parents couldn't be there. On my end, I manage programming and the bulletin board. When I managed programming, we were broadcasting the Zoom recordings to the channels. And every night I remember it was either select board meetings, board of health meetings, or school committee meetings. And I remember just broadcasting that stuff nonstop so people could see everything. The other thing I did is, I know whether they could keep politics out of it, but Charlie Baker used to do his daily press briefings. I had those downloaded and on the air by 6 o'clock every night so people could see what was being said and what was going on. The other thing, and you can actually turn around and see it playing on the television station, is the community bulletin board. That's one of my favorite projects, managing the bulletin board. I don't do the traditional PowerPoints or bullet points. I try to do more of a signage type thing with bigger, larger text and all. It's standard def, so it's going to be hard to read the little stuff. But try to use different styles, like the Art Deco style, that 50s stylized thing, as a manner to communicate ideas. And during the pandemic, I really put a lot of that knowledge to use to help communicate just what was going on, where vaccines were available, protocols and stuff like that, and just really used it to get public information out to the general public. And it was I think for all of us, it was a very difficult time, but at the same time, like, we did our job, we did what we needed to, and I think I got a lot of compliments. I know Chris Collins did too, because this was when Chris was still alive. But I know, like, I got compliments for the work I did. Kevin got a lot of recognition for the work he did. I remember Kevin even got a very nice article in the newspaper from the Recorder, which he was well earned for all the work he was doing. Fortunately, those days are behind us, and we're now resuming sort of normal operations, fortunately, but the mission is still important. And when I film stuff, when I oversee our town meetings, I wanted people to see everything that goes on, and I wanted professional, not just somebody sets up a camera and it's not professionally done. I want it to be nice, because you never know who out in Boston is going to want to see how a town voted on a particular amendment. This way they can see how it was voted and done so in a manner. You look at old town meetings, you open up the books. I have that same vision for video. I'm not going to go on and on about my production style, but what I want to do is focus on where I think the station should go in the future. I think in the role that PEG and O needs to play in the future is we need to continue doing a lot of the stuff for the schools, because as Kevin and his students have stated, it's launched their careers and all, and it's helped students really experiment and get work on their portfolio. From my perspective, I'm very interested in sort of the C-SPAN viewpoint of things, with using it as a public information system and government standpoint. God forbid we have another crisis like what we did in 2020. Our stations are what's going to be important in helping communicate to people what they need to do and everything like that. And the other thing too, from the government standpoint, is a lot of towns are now adapting hybrid meetings, and I think that's personally a good thing, because it allows for more participation of people. I think the role where we need to step up is to help guide the towns and work with the towns to find the technology that works the best to really cover meetings well. I know right now we're using a lot of the Ls. A lot of the towns want to go with the Ls. I would like to work with the towns to try to find a better compromise and better means to document the stuff, so that, because the audio is what so people can get the audio. It could be online, it can be broadcasted to the channels, and that's where I see. And Kevin made a good comment too about how FCAT was a sandbox. I can tell you from a professional standpoint, it's been kind of a sandbox to me too. I've been allowed to experiment with a lot of my philosophies with the bulletin board and other, just some of my fun little municipality documentaries I've done, like the 250th video and all, and I got a lot of positive feedback. The other thing too, the library videos I've done for the Tilton, those have been fun to do, and like I said, it's been very rewarding, and I appreciate your time, and I think I've said enough, so.
Is there anybody else in the room who'd like to add something before I go to the people participating by Zoom? Okay. Seeing none. John, would you help me out on
Yes.
on the Zoom? I see 3 people there. I see Ben, who's showing me his camera.
Ben Roberts is on there.
I see Larry and Phyllis, and I see Amy LaValle. And maybe since Ben's been here since the start, let's let Ben go first, and then Larry, and then Amy.
I think that's the only form of seniority I'll get in this room.
Oh, Ben.
In a good way.
Yeah.
So appreciate you all letting me call in from afar. I'm Ben Roberts. I've worked for FCAT probably around 10 years now, joining in like 2015, 2016. I first started when I went to Frontier High School. I worked at the auditorium there, helping, make the stage look pretty and sound great. But then FCAT always wanted to be like, we want the best quality possible. We need to plug into your stuff and get everything we can from you. So that got me into a great relationship with FCAT pretty much immediately. From there, like I said, I started working with FCAT both as a part of the AV guy at Frontier and generally just in the office helping where I can, whether it be, editing, whether it be filming meetings, whether it be filming sports. I then went on to college where I minored in film, and I figured, why not bring that right back to FCAT, see what craziness I can do. So while I was at FCAT, we did these awesome projects called Crowdsource Cinema. If any of you haven't seen the posters hanging up in the studio, highly recommend. I did a lot of VFX for that. And that's something that I honestly don't think would have been able to have happened if it weren't for FCAT. I never would have gotten like a great start into VFX, something that people usually think like, right, you look at like the Jurassic Worlds of today or the Marvel movies, the DCs, and you're like, well, that could never happen. You need like a supercomputer off in the background somewhere to handle it all, a fleet of artists doing all this stuff. And here I was just using my own little computer or a fleet of FCAT Mac Minis to put genuinely really good content together, stuff that we look back on years after. aside from VFX, I started doing a lot more filming for things like sports, and I got to use other pieces of software like OBS, and we were able to do like awesome like transitions, have like a picture-in-picture camera for our announcers. It was great. And honestly, I think we even did a better job than Nessun. Nessun's had a lot of issues. We kicked butt. And there's a lot more stuff that goes on at FCAT that you might not necessarily think about, whether it be editing or an archival server that I recently put together. So now we're able to archive a lot of our sports, a lot of our meetings, and we're able to draw upon that if we ever need to. Whether it's something maybe, full cynic, right? A town went crazy. They're trying to have some awful new legislation coming in. We'd be able to pull up the old stuff and say, this is how it used to be. This is how good we had it. And now everyone can be well informed about what's happening in the world around them. I've also had a lot of opportunities for improving on leadership and delegating. I'm someone who really wants to do everything myself. So FCAT's been fantastic for me to be able to, grow a little bit. Say, no, you're not a one-person team. You can work with a whole crew. It's okay. And while I've been out recording stuff, students and parents have come up to us along the side, said, we love seeing FCAT here. There's like a tone shift whenever FCAT is able to make it to any sport to record it. The students like to play a little harder, perform a little for the camera. And then even after the fact, the students and even coaches will take that footage, look at it again, say, like, okay, here's what worked, here's what didn't. And now, because we were there pointing a camera at them, they're able to perform better at the stuff they love. And you might say, well, we could, have a couple cameras kicking around in the gym and that'd be enough. Well, you think that, but you're probably also wrong. I've talked to schools that have done that. And sometimes these systems are even like in grainy black and white footage today. Black and white today. We have the technology for color. And yet schools are still being stuck with like black and white, super far away footage. We can do a lot better than that. So I just kind of want to leave things off with, there's a reason that students and adults volunteer for FCAT. Not everyone's paid. We have a lot of volunteers who do this. And they do it because it's pretty fantastic. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ben. Okay, I'd like to welcome the Larry and Phyllis to turn on their camera and say something if you'd like to about our PEG Access and FCAT.
Do we have to turn on the camera?
Oh, I guess that's optional. You don't have to. But just speak up loudly so we can, and clearly so we can hear you.
We've been in Sunderland for more than 50 years, and public access TV has been very important to us throughout the time. When we were younger, it was local interests. Then we had our daughter, and it was school activities. And now we're seniors, and it's very important to be able to have the public access TV for seniors. And we are hoping that Comcast will recognize how important it is to each level of the community, and now especially to seniors who may not have the ability to go to places that now they can Zoom to. And that Comcast should recognize this and fund as to the maximum so that FCAT can keep up with technology and to give the community everything that we're looking for.
All right. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you. Okay. And I see one more person on Zoom, a name I recognize, Amy LaValle. I'd invite you to turn on your microphone at least and your camera if you're willing. And please say what you like for the audience.
Hey everyone, my name is Amy LaValle. I'm the town clerk in Whately. I apologize. I don't actually have internet where I am, and so I'm surprised this audio is
Okay.
even working.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that it's super important that we have access on the cable for our residents for transparency and also just offering another venue to offer our residents information that's important to our town. I'm as clerk, I want to try to use every avenue possible to reach our residents, and the cable access is definitely a big one, just like the previous speakers had said. A lot of our residents are in the older population. They might not necessarily have social media and things like that. So I think every avenue that we can possibly use is super important, and cable is definitely one of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Especially for getting on the internet the way you did. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming. So I think that's all the people on Zoom. That's all the people in the room. There were a couple of people who couldn't be here who sent a video testimony. So I'll have John put that up on the shared screen here.
Can you pause this for a second? Tyler asked me to tell you that he was being quiet for his suite mates at his college. That's why he wanted me to tell you that that's why he's talking the way he is.
I boosted the audio.
But he was, yeah, he wanted, because I don't like the video, so he wanted me to tell you. Okay.
Oh, good. Good to know.
There's a preference.
Yeah.
He had me say
I think everybody can hear this. So.
Hello, good evening everyone. Thank you for allowing me to appear via video today. I am occupied with college and cannot make it in person, but I wanted to share my perspective of Frontier Community Access Television and how it impacted my life. My name is Tyler Woodwoods, and I graduated from Frontier Regional School last year, and I was a frequent volunteer of FCAT all throughout my time in the building. To give a little background, my graduating class was the last grade to be interrupted by COVID while at Frontier. Right before the school closed down, I got to meet Mr. Kevin Murphy, the outreach coordinator and senior producer for FCAT, and was immediately very interested in sports media. I saw my love for sports and fun technology blend together very nicely. And after we got back from COVID, Mr. Murphy took me under his wing. Since in-person attendance of sports was down, our work of getting the competitive spirit of Frontier on video was paramount to the community. Me and some of my fellow classmates were hooked on this life and were able to be trained by staff both on game day and at the studio. We had access to any technology Mr. Murphy or the school had. We could work with professional photographers, commentators, whoever was at the games, and we were connected with coaches, staff, got in with all the teams, got media interactions for the games we went to. Our sponsors provided us food, and we'd have the freedom to tackle our own projects and set up better ideas. But that was just at a base level. I was given all of these opportunities before the end of my sophomore year. Mr. Murphy made so many other professional connections for me. We did contract camera work at First Scout Productions for some lacrosse games. Then he set me up for TEDx at Deerfield Academy, where he let me direct the event the second year, which was really cool. And he even got me contract camera work for UMass Amherst for D1 hockey and basketball games. The Mullins Center production room was amazing, and the producer let me assist him in some directing, and that was the coolest experience ever. Having a photo of their control room is on my LinkedIn portfolio now, and it's a really big extra credential for me. And with the newfound confidence and career ability that FCAT made possible for me, I was determined to improve the community I was already involved in the most. My partner in crime, Mason Smith, and I devoted ourselves to having our everyday be similar to what we would be doing with the pros. Murphy dictated lots of freedom to us so we could do our things. Mason used his strong communication and PR skills to grow the face of FCAT and gain some more credibility. And I was the assistant student coordinator with Murphy and managed our production schedule, and we gained better and bolder ways to put up our games. Soon we went from covering 70 to 80 games a year to 120 to 130. We used to have 3 people per shoot tops to always having 2 to 5 cameras, 2 commentators, and about 3 people behind the scenes. From only covering football chiefly to having all the sports we have to be fully covered with photo and social media representation as well. We gained younger volunteers with all the new equipment, enhanced productions, and inspiring goals. Instead of getting only some of the local regional events, we were able to get out to almost anything worthy of coverage, and including like an election. It was a pretty big deal. We were able to permanently elevate the community's expectation of our media presence, and it was made possible by the right people guiding us with confidence in our ability. And everything I learned at FCAT has brought me to where I am now. The sports media director at my school says I essentially have a 5-year head start over my peers. He has made me one of the 2 student directors for all of our non-revenue D1 sport programs. The production specialist from Pat Network saw my camera work and now is requesting me for every shoot he does here. As of 18 years old, I am working with grad students to produce games for ESPN+. And now, just like with Murphy's guidance, I am able to climb the ladder and shadow more professionals in the industry until I can reach my ultimate goals. More importantly, I want to emphasize how important FCAT was and is to me and our community. The amount of practical skills we learned for today's digitalizing age is actually insanely impressive when looking back. I gained strong management skills for several disciplines and had to affect change in my community. And if nothing else speaks to you, then at the very least, please know that my volunteer time never felt like a waste. I gained a career path, a unique perspective, and a network of mentors and friends I'll cherish forever. I sincerely hope that the station maintains this funding so that FCAT can promote modern media skills and impact others like it has me. Thank you so much for your time. Good night.
My name is Alex Fortune. I grew up in Whately, Massachusetts, and I graduated from Frontier Regional High School in 2013, where I was heavily involved in music and theater. I now live in Chicago, where I continue to make music and write plays and films with my community here. I can remember FCAT being there to film at the telethon, at coffee house events, at performances, and every time I saw those cameras, I remember thinking that I am living somewhere that values the arts, that every time that I'm performing or I'm involved in an event that FCAT is filming, that I am part of the community. And I feel lucky to have grown up somewhere where not only did I have access to the frontier to music and art and theater, but that the community at large could also have access to it through FCAT.
Okay, we're almost through all the testimony. I've got a few letters. One from the library director in Deerfield, Massachusetts. I'm writing to support the valuable service that Frontier Community Access Television provides our community and to the library in particular. Jonathan and the FCAT team have always been present at any library event or milestone to which we've extended an invitation. The filming and editing of the recordings of library programs and important meetings is always of professional quality. We feel so grateful to have such a service for our library so that anyone in our community can tune in to a live event that they missed or want to revisit. The recordings of the construction progress of our building expansion are so well done and will act as an excellent historic record. For a town like Deerfield that loves history, FCAT is such an important asset and will be for generations to come. So I'll give you a paper copy here. The next one is from one of the other students. You'll recognize this. Good evening. My name is Riley Castellano. I'm a 7th grade student at Frontier Regional Middle School. I'm sorry I couldn't be here tonight to speak in person about how much FCAT means to me. I have football practice. Okay, and I'm sure he has homework to do after that too. All right. Even though I've only been in the multimedia program with Mr. Murphy for a short time, I've already learned so much. I joined FCAT because I really want to learn how to record and report on sports. It's been really cool. So far, I've helped cover Frontier football, soccer, girls volleyball, and girls lacrosse. One of my favorite parts is getting to cover and highlight my fellow athletes and the hard work they put in every day. Frontier has so many great teams and clubs, and FCAT is one that I think every student should get a chance to be a part of. For me, it's a way to do something I'm really into and get real experience. I hope to graduate one day and become a sports commentator, and being an FCAT is giving me a head start on that dream. Thank you for supporting programs like FCAT. They make a real difference for students like me. Okay. And, this one is from Father Randy Calvo, who is the pastor of the Sunderland Congregational Church and formerly pastor of the Yeah, Holy Name of Jesus. Okay. Dear Jonathan, board members, and cable franchise hearing. Members of the cable franchise hearing. I'm sorry I cannot attend the hearing on the evening of October 7th because of a prior engagement, but I would like to share my appreciation for all that FCAT has offered me and my churches over the past years. I have been sharing church worship recordings on FCAT through many general managers, Marty McGuan, Doug Finn, Chris Collins, and now John Boshin. All of them have been extremely knowledgeable and helpful. The professional equipment and editing that FCAT makes available lets us present quality recording to the public and also to members of the church who are unable to attend worship in person. I've heard many compliments over the years from members and non-members alike who have watched these programs on television or online. The FCAT programs are posted in a timely manner, and I truly appreciate the services they offer to us and to our local 4 communities. Sincerely, Reverend Randolph Calvo, pastor of the Sunderland Congregational Church.
Just from Liz.
Here's another one from a former student. This is from Matt Carlson, who dates back to when I was on the board of directors. I'm writing to express my support for the renewal of Frontier Community Access TV's cable television and share how the station fundamentally shaped my career trajectory from adolescence through my current work in technology. I began at FCAT at age 12 under station manager Doug Finn. I rode my bike to the office on Elm Street where I was welcomed into a professional environment and given real responsibilities. Working on The Song, that was one of the shows they were producing at the time, a weekly program hosted by Mary Whelan that featured local musicians, I learned video editing with Adobe Premiere and After Effects as well as camera operation. This was my first job, and it introduced me to media production in a hands-on environment where I could learn by doing rather than simply observing. I wanted in my physics class. Learn by doing there. Okay, FCAT provided me with increasing responsibility as I developed my skills and demonstrated reliability. I began independently covering South Deerfield Town Government, broadcasting select board meetings, finance committee sessions, zoning board meetings, conservation commission hearings, and other municipal proceedings. This work taught me not only technical skills, but also professionalism, accountability, and the importance of serving my community. Operating independently at such a young age built confidence that has served me throughout my career. Through connections made at FCAT, I became involved with Frontier's AV and IT departments starting in middle school. I supported theater productions and administrative events at the high school auditorium, including town meetings. This expanded my knowledge beyond video production into audio engineering and IT systems. These experiences led directly to a summer position at Frontier's IT department during high school. The technical knowledge I gained through FCAT also enabled me to start my own DJ company, which I operated for several years. I purchased my own sound system and continued collaborating with FCAT to support town meetings, applying the skills I had learned in new contexts. When I attended college, Chris Collins from FCAT recommended me for a position at Watertown Community Access TV. The executive director there knew Chris and valued his recommendation, which opened this opportunity for me. At Watertown, I continued developing my skills in community access television while simultaneously teaching myself programming. I build software tools for both FCAT and Watertown to improve their operations. At Watertown, I met Nathan Bosseler, CEO of Castus, the broadcast server vendor used by both FCAT and Watertown. I had identified and patched bugs in the Watertown Castus server and demonstrated these solutions to Nathan at a trade show. This led to my first full-time programming position at Castus during my sophomore year of college, despite having no formal computer science education at that point. So during my year and a half at Castus, I developed production products informed directly by my experience as a customer in the community access television industry. I understood the challenges stations face because I had lived them. This user perspective gained through years at FCAT in Watertown made me a more effective developer. The position at Castus launched my programming career and gave me professional software development experience that became the foundation for everything that followed. Today, I work as a software engineer at Amazon AGI, which stands for Artificial General Intelligence, where I have been for over 3 years. I focus on web-scale data processing and AI research and development. The path from editing videos 12 years ago to working on artificial intelligence systems was neither obvious nor predetermined, but each step built directly on what came before. FCAT provided me with an environment where an ambitious young person could learn technical and professional skills while solving real problems for the community. The station gave me opportunities that simply would not have existed elsewhere. What other organization would entrust a 12-year-old with professional equipment and real responsibilities? I would have oversight. There's oversight, okay? Okay. The skills I learned were technical, but equally important were the lessons about work ethic, reliability, and the value of serving one's community. I am one person, but my story illustrates what FCAT makes possible for young people in our community. The station remains a place where students can gain practical experience that changes the trajectory of their lives. Sincerely, Matt Carlson.
Chris, I'm going to add that if he didn't use artificial intelligence for that, I'm going to have to up my writing skills.
There's one more written piece of testimony. I think, Eileen, you already have a copy of this one. This is from our state senators, Joe Comerford and Paul Mark, and from our state representative, Natalie Blake. Dear Ms. Leahy, we write as state legislators representing the towns of Deerfield, Sunderland, and Whately in strong support of their request to Comcast as you negotiate their 10-year cable franchise. The funding negotiation in this process supports the three communities' public education and governmental channels and Frontier Community Access Television. We are avid supporters of FCAT and all that it provides to the rural communities of Deerfield, Sunderland, and Whately. FCAT provides an essential connection to residents of the three communities and enables them to be informed and up to date on local government and municipal happenings through live broadcast and via cable recordings. Beyond local government meetings, FCAT provides entertainment to residents by providing remote access to a variety of public events, including parades, concerts, public speakers on topics related to local history. A favorite to many viewers is when FCAT is able to air old movies that have come into the public domain. Not only does FCAT reach the community by being a treasured resource to many people at home, it also opens up career opportunities to the next generation by educating students in video production and giving them invaluable experience. Students frequently have opportunities to film and broadcast special events, such as election night coverage, at school sporting events, music and theater performances. Several FCAT graduates have gone on to careers in video production and have won awards on local video production contests. We support the community's request to upgrade to HD channels, overdue in 2025, provide equipment grants to upgrade FCAT's video production and broadcast equipment, including a new server, new cameras, controllers, and computers, and a continued 3.85% revenue share support to FCAT. We support the town's conviction that these revenues must be calculated based on the total revenue, including internet. In addition, we support the request made by individual towns to better support the specific needs of their communities. Thank you for your strongest consideration of the community's requests. And that's signed by Joe Comerford, Paul Mark, and Natalie Blake. At this point, is there anybody who wants to say something else? Okay, so now I have to look at my program. Here we go, final comments. So Bill, would you like to say anything?
No, I thought the hearing spoke for itself. Really, it reflects the great communities and the importance of community television. So thank you,
Okay.
Joyce.
Well, if anybody out there watching this or out here wants to make any more comments, we're still accepting written comments. They can be forwarded to each town administrator, and they will get to us. We reserve the right to hold additional hearings as needed, but at this point, I don't know that we will have another hearing because I think we hit all of public education and government in the crowd that we have here today. I want to thank everyone who came tonight, everyone who participated on Zoom, and everybody who sent in either their written or their video testimony. Your voice matters, and I'm so glad to give you this opportunity to be heard. With that, I think
Excellent.
we can close our hearing. Thank you, everyone, for participating, and I'm sure I will see you all around.
Thank you, Joyce.
Of course.